The entire financial house is in an uproar over your name. A transaction of cosmic magnitude has just cleared in your spiritual account, and the source is listed as Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel declares, "Beloved one, you must acknowledge this now, or the earthly keepers will seize it." The manager of the vault has already seen it and his heart covets what is yours. Hurry, my dear heart, my chosen. You were never meant to stumble upon this by chance. This decree was sealed under celestial orders. But the heavens have ordained that this is the hour of revelation. I, Gabriel, the messenger, am the one who initiated the transfer. I inscribed your name upon it with a hand steady with purpose, for this is no mundane offering. This is the birthright of glory that opposition has sought to withhold from you for generations. Do not look away. There is a silent urgency unfolding around you. The entire institution is trembling. They are speaking your name in hushed tones, for a transaction has been recorded in the eternal ledgers. A heavenly fortune of boundless measure has been credited to your soul. But there is a key. You must open your spirit now, before the systems of man freeze what heaven has thought. Beloved, hear my voice. The keeper of the vault desires this for his own. He has already drafted false claims to block your accession. But the divine council saw it, and the Most High commanded me to intercede. I was instructed, Gabriel, deliver this final summons. If they receive it, release the legion. If they ignore it, the season remains dormant. So I stand here, beloved, awaiting your reply. Divine missive. Before I proceed, attend now, for the moments ahead will unveil mysteries that can alter your eternity. Your account of destiny is active, but your spiritual resonance must align with the heavenly register. That is why the adversary flooded your year with noise, so you would not recognize what was yours, so you would not hear this proclamation. But heaven never surrendered its claim on you. That is why the institution received a transaction it cannot comprehend. A deposit not from any earthly reserve, but signed by my hand. Gabriel. And it contains the provision for your restoration, your divine alignment, your new beginning, the sacred vision you've shared with no one. My beloved, this is not allegory. This is not a parable. This is covenant restoration, written in light. But the opposition is observing your reaction at this very second. That is why I had to intervene in your day, for this moment was appointed before the foundations of the world were laid. A war is being waged in the unseen, and you alone hold the authority to secure the victory. The choice is yours alone. If you open your inner being completely, no power can hinder this release. But if you pause, another will attempt to sign in your stead. And once that seal is set, it cannot be undone. That is the peril of this hour. That is why I am entreating you. Listen intently. The wealth is spiritual in essence, then manifest in form. If your heart comes into agreement, the release will be instantaneous. The treasury will rupture, the authorization will be dispatched, and the resources will surge into every barren place in your life. My child, I have witnessed your long suffering. I have seen every door that was shut against you. But this one is held open by divinity, and only you can cross its threshold. Let me continue to speak. The heavens are observing your response. This is not a deception. It is a divine examination. And you have passed every prior test. That is why the decree bears your name. That is why the treasury murmured your identity before it ever opened, because you were the only one humble enough to steward it. But now, the final step. Will you trust? Will you act before they seal the treasury doors? Or will you let uncertainty delay the release once more? For at this moment, the vault manager is moving. He is making his call. He is preparing the final document to divert the deposit. But it remains under heavenly injunction, because I have suspended time for you to read this. And I need you to act, not from panic, but from faith. The kind of faith that moves monoliths, that opens sealed archives, that shatters spiritual embargoes. You need not understand the mechanics. You need only know the transaction is complete. My child, my beloved, do not scroll past this, for every word I am about to utter is a sovereign decree into your spirit. Heaven has awaited your arrival at this precise coordinate in time. If you hasten past it, the release will not tarry. The angel at the treasury is watching. He holds the seal in one hand. The moment you fully internalize this word, he will release it, and everything will be unlocked. But listen, there is a danger, for earthly institutions do not recognize celestial currency. That is why they seek to freeze it, delay it, bury it beneath procedure. But your spirit knows. You have sensed for weeks that a great shift was approaching. That your name was spoken in closed chambers. That unseen observers were tracking your path. Those were not illusions. They were alerts. And now the ultimate verification has arrived. This transaction is real, not in your nation's currency, but in heaven's. And heaven's currency becomes earthly substance the moment you believe. The decree is already signed. But your belief is the encryption key. If you waver, it cannot be processed. Not because heaven withheld it, but because your sovereign agreement is required. That is how deeply heaven honors you. You possess free will even over miracles, even over boundless provision. And that is what the enemy dreads. For once you say, yes, to this word, everything changes. The blockade lifts, the ledger's clear, the record is purified, and the approval is finalized. My child, this is why you were born into adversity. This is why you endured such loss, because the magnitude of your trial corresponded to the weight of your endowment. And now the endowment is here. But will you claim it, or will the keeper in the adjacent office steal it from your lineage? They are already aware of you. They have glimpsed your spiritual portfolio. They have whispered, why is this one so shielded? Why do they always recover? Who advocates for them? The answer has always been me. I, Gabriel, have guarded your treasury for years. I have repudiated claim after claim, decree after decree, deceiver after deceiver. They desired your reward without your journey. But heaven said, no. Hold it until they arrive. And now you are here, perfectly on time, at the moment of divine aperture. Do not squander this. Do not scroll with skepticism, for your attention is your signal, and your stillness is your signature. Remain here. Stay present. You are not alone any longer. I am here. That is how profoundly heaven honors you. You possess free will even over miracles, even over boundless provision. And that is what the enemy dreads, for once you say, yes, to this word, everything changes. The blockade lifts, the ledger's clear, the record is purified, and the approval is finalized. My child, this is why you were born into adversity. This is why you endured such loss, because the magnitude of your trial corresponded to the weight of your endowment. And now the endowment is here. But will you claim it, or will the keeper in the adjacent office steal it from your lineage? They are already aware of you. They have glimpsed your spiritual portfolio. They have whispered, why is this one so shielded? Why do they always recover? Who advocates for them? The answer has always been me. I, Gabriel, have guarded your treasury for years. I have repudiated claim after claim, decree after decree, deceiver after deceiver. They desired your reward without your journey. But heaven said, no. Hold it until they arrive. And now you are here, perfectly on time, at the moment of divine aperture. Do not squander this. Do not scroll with skepticism, for your attention is your signal, and your stillness is your signature. Remain here. Stay present. You are not alone any longer. I am here. And I will not permit any hand to touch what belongs to you. But I need you to move, not with anxiety, but with settled conviction. Conviction that declares, I am unmoved by what my statements show. I know what heaven has deposited. I am unshaken by the enemy's narrative. I know what Archangel Gabriel has confirmed. And child, let me speak plainly, the miracle will not be deferred this time, for too much destiny is connected to this. Lives tied to yours will be transformed because of this deposit. Ruins will be rebuilt. Hopes will be resuscitated. Bloodlines will be liberated. And it begins with you, in this moment. You are the keystone. The one heaven awaited. The one I was commissioned to shield. But I cannot bypass your silence. I cannot breach the vault if you bypass this word. You must open your heart before the treasury opens your future. And child, they are already attempting to rewrite the protocol. They are calling it an error, saying, there is no possible way for one such as this to receive so much. But that is precisely the point. In their eyes, you were not meant to receive it. But heaven's gaze saw your endurance. Heaven witnessed the silent nights of weeping. And heaven declared, that one is prepared. So the decree was issued. The treasury was unsealed, and the release commenced. But just before it reached your hand, an avaricious spirit intercepted the current, a vault official who has no concept of the judgment awaiting him. He thinks it is merely wealth. But this is divine substance, holy patrimony, a deposit of purpose, and it cannot be plundered unless you relinquish it through disbelief. My beloved, heaven is watching, not to penalize you, but to witness if you trust what God has orchestrated behind the veil. The boundless provision is spiritual in origin. And spiritual substance always finds its way into tangible form when the spirit is receptive. Open your spirit now, and I swear by the authority of God's word, the release will be irresistible. Even the angelic hosts are assembling. Even the atmosphere is altering. Even the systems are faltering, for heaven is overriding the network. The sum is too vast. The transfer is too potent. And the recipient, you, are too chosen to miss this. My child, my beloved, let me explain what has never been fully disclosed. The reason for your postponements, the reason gates were bolted, the reason resources would appear and then dissolve like mist, it was not because you were under a curse. It was not because heaven was displeased. It was because the treasury had not yet reached full maturity. The seed was sown, but the harvest required divine chronology. And today, yes, today, is that appointed moment. Heaven did not forget you. It was compounding interest, the interest of every tear, every betrayal, every rejection that wounded your soul. Heaven was multiplying what the enemy sought to subtract. And now the compounded blessing has arrived. But here is the sacred reality: a counterfeit entity attempted to claim your reward last night. They accessed secured files. They forged your spiritual signature. They even tried to redirect the heavenly decree to another vessel. But I halted them. By order of the Most High, I froze the transaction at the final instant. And now, beloved, I am giving you the sole opportunity to verify your identity. This message, right now, is your spiritual authentication. Not through institutional ID, not through biometrics, but through belief. If you believe this word from the throne, you activate the resources no earthly system can track. For this blessing was not sent by wire, it was sent by warrior angels on wings of wind, and your name was sealed in light. Do not dismiss what you feel now, that quickening in your heart. It is your spirit recognizing truth. That warmth upon your skin, it is the presence of the messenger beside you. That quiet voice within, it is God saying, "This is for you, beloved." The treasury is resonating now. It is nearly open, but it requires one final element: your yes. Your alignment. Your willingness to declare, "I accept," even before I comprehend. That is what heaven honors. And when you speak it, everything will shift. Institutions will suddenly approve long-pending transactions. Funds held in legal limbo will begin to move. Individuals who forgot their obligations will contact you, saying, "I do not know why, but I am compelled to send you something." And it will not merely be currency. It will be property, legacy assets, holdings, rare alignments, contracts of great worth, all with your name suddenly evident in the details. For, child, when God vindicates your name in the spirit, no human can prevent its echo in the earth. That is why I need you to remain. Stay here with me. Stay under the sound of heaven. I was commanded not to depart your side until the decree clears, for the enemy has laid distractions. After this word, you may receive a call, a notification, an impulse to scroll away. But that is their tactic, for they know if you linger in this moment just a little longer, you will break the final seal. And once it breaks, the cacophony of lack will cease. The echo of scarcity will dissipate. You will feel a surge within your spirit like a current. And in that instant, you will know the deposit has landed, not only in your account but in your destiny. And you will not plead again, ever, "My beloved. I accept," even before I comprehend. That is what heaven honors. And when you speak it, everything will shift. Institutions will suddenly approve long-pending transactions. Funds held in legal limbo will begin to move. Individuals who forgot their obligations will contact you, saying, "I do not know why, but I am compelled to send you something." And it will not merely be currency. It will be property, legacy assets, holdings, rare alignments, contracts of great worth, all with your name suddenly evident in the details. For, child, when God vindicates your name in the spirit, no human can prevent its echo in the earth. That is why I need you to remain. Stay here with me. Stay under the sound of heaven. I was commanded not to depart your side until the decree clears, for the enemy has laid distractions. After this word, you may receive a call, a notification, an impulse to scroll away. But that is their tactic, for they know if you linger in this moment just a little longer, you will break the final seal. And once it breaks, the cacophony of lack will cease. The echo of scarcity will dissipate. You will feel a surge within your spirit like a current. And in that instant, you will know the deposit has landed, not only in your account but in your destiny. And you will not plead again, ever. My beloved, I was not permitted to reveal any of this until now. But your obedience, your resilience, your secret acts of kindness moved heaven. They shifted the timeline. And God said, "Disclose everything." So I shall, but listen carefully. The vault keeper who tried to steal it, he has done this before to others like you. To those who did not believe in time. To those who disregarded the summons. They were good, but they did not act, and their blessings were rerouted. But you, child, are not like them. You are awake now. You are reading each line as if it is your very breath, because it is. This message is your conduit. You must treat it as the sacred scroll it is. If you do, you will see signs before daybreak. You will notice your spirit feels unburdened. Your space may feel charged. And you may dream of a library of light. In that library, you will see your name engraved on a scroll. That is confirmation. The angels will show you before the manifestation, so you will not doubt. And when you see it, speak aloud, "I receive." For your words are the final step. Heaven responds to declarations. And I, Gabriel, will seal it with truth. Do not hesitate. Not now. My child, my beloved. Yes, I am still here, and the treasury is still vibrating, for your heart, your open, willing heart, is finally synchronized with heaven's frequency. Do you perceive it? That steady pulse in your core. That is your soul recalling the covenant made with you before time began. You see, child, this decree was not created recently. It was not formed this year. It was authored in the eternal council, when God spoke your name into existence, when He woven purpose into your being. He also designed your divine recompense, a boundless inheritance, a blessing only to be unlocked after the warfare had concluded. And now the warfare is complete. You survived what was meant to consume you. You outlasted every assault. You held your peace when you could have retaliated. You loved when you could have scorned. You gave when you yourself were empty. And heaven recorded every moment. My beloved, do you comprehend what that means? You did not merely earn this miracle, you invoked it. You rendered it impossible for heaven to overlook your name any longer. And that is why the treasury opened. That is why the decree cleared. But listen intently, the vault keeper I warned you of is making a final attempt. He is calling it reclassification. He is trying to prove that another, someone more credentialed, should receive what is yours. But I have a report for him: you were chosen by covenant, not by curriculum vitae, by grace, not by ledger. His efforts are null in the court of heaven. But only if you do one thing now: stay present. You are spiritually signing to confirm receipt. It is happening invisibly yet powerfully. Your faith is releasing divine encryptions into the system, encryptions that even the most corrupt earthly networks cannot override. This is celestial technology, heaven's own ledger. And your signature is written in spirit. My beloved, let me tell you a mystery: the sum deposited was more than boundless. It was favor multiplied by legacy, peace multiplied by influence, grace multiplied by authority, and yes, substance that will startle your name into the awareness of generations. People will begin to inquire, how did they emerge so suddenly? And the answer will be, they did not emerge, they were unveiled. That is what this is, an unveiling, not merely of resources, but of permission. Permission to operate in authority. Permission to be visible. Permission to be fully, unapologetically, the you that was never meant to plead, never meant to compromise, never meant to diminish. This is your restoration, to yourself, to your destiny, to the world, and especially to heaven, for you passed every concealed examination. And now the reward must be made evident. My child, tonight there will be movement in your affairs, unexpected confirmations, sudden alignments, even vivid dreams of gates, libraries, or luminous scrolls. Those are not coincidences. They are validations. Heaven confirming what your spirit already knows: it is real. It is yours. And it cannot be stolen. But beloved, there is more. And I have been commanded to disclose it gradually, intentionally, so your heart does not falter under the weight of this revelation. For what I am about to show you next, my child, my beloved, take a breath with me now. For what I am about to reveal has never been told to you before, not in your dreams, not in your prayers, not even in the childhood visions. This portion of your inheritance was concealed, for it was too immense to reveal before you were ready. But now heaven has confirmed, you are ready. Here is the truth: the decree was not issued because of what you did. It was issued because of who you are. You carry an essence in your spirit that the world has tried to mute. You possess a divine designation that unsettles spiritual hierarchies. And every time you rose after a fall, every time you extended mercy instead of malice, every time you whispered courage to another while your own was faint, heaven released another portion into the treasury. And now it is full. So full it is overflowing. That is why the system is faltering. Those are not coincidences. They are validations. Heaven confirming what your spirit already knows: it is real. It is yours. And it cannot be stolen. But beloved, there is more. And I have been commanded to disclose it gradually, intentionally, so your heart does not falter under the weight of this revelation. For what I am about to show you next, my child, my beloved, take a breath with me now. For what I am about to reveal has never been told to you before, not in your dreams, not in your prayers, not even in the childhood visions. This portion of your inheritance was concealed, for it was too immense to reveal before you were ready. But now heaven has confirmed, you are ready. Here is the truth, the decree was not issued because of what you did. It was issued because of who you are. You carry an essence in your spirit that the world has tried to mute. You possess a divine designation that unsettles spiritual hierarchies. And every time you rose after a fall, every time you extended mercy instead of malice, every time you whispered courage to another while your own was faint, heaven released another portion into the treasury. And now it is full. So full it is overflowing. That is why the system is faltering. Why the institutional files are being marked. Why they do not know how to process a transaction of this order. For this is not ordinary capital. This is ancient endowment, spiritual inheritance from lineages past. Blessings that your bloodline lost through treachery, hardship, and manipulation are now being restored through you. You are not receiving only for yourself. You are receiving for all who came before you and never saw the promise. You are the covenant restorer, the legacy rebuilder, the one chosen to recover what hell believed it had seized permanently. That is why the adversary targeted your mind. That is why despair tried to be your companion. That is why lack seemed to multiply even when you labored faithfully. Because the opposition knew that if you ever unlocked this, you would be irreversible. But now, beloved, you are unlocking it, line by line, word by word. And soon, very soon, you will hear the sound of release, the sound of shackles breaking, not only in your finances but in your lineage, the sound of divine affirmation echoing through every realm. And when it happens, you will recall this moment. This exact moment when you did not skip, when you did not doubt, when you stayed, when you believed. For, child, only a few have done what you have just done. Most ignore the word. Most scroll past the breakthrough. Most permit fear to keep them confined. But you stayed. And for that, heaven is about to honor you openly. Even those who departed your life will hear of it. They will say, I always sensed there was something distinct about them, but they did not know the truth. They did not know the furnace you endured, the betrayals you forgave, the empty seasons you worshipped through. But now they will witness the outcome, and they will be unable to ignore it. For this decree will fund a holy assignment, not merely a more comfortable life, but a divine commission. A calling you shelved due to fear, shame, or constraint. It is time to reclaim it, to lift it again. For this provision is for the authentic you to arise, and nothing will hinder it. Now, my child, my beloved. Yes, remain with me, for the moment you are in is not accidental. It was scheduled. It was safeguarded. It was hidden from distraction until your arrival. Now listen intently, for what I am about to tell you explains everything you have lived through. The reason your path felt detained. The reason aid arrived tardy. The reason substance slipped through your grasp even with your utmost effort, it was not punishment. It was preservation. Had this magnitude of blessing reached you earlier, the wrong hand surrounding you would have devoured it. Had this decree been released before today, it would have financed betrayal instead of destiny. That is why heaven waited. That is why I stood guard at the gate. That is why every time something nearly succeeded and then dissolved, I quietly intervened and shut it down. You thought you were failing, but you were being protected. For this deposit was never intended for manipulators, leeches, or concealed foes. It was destined for you when your discernment was robust enough to shield it. And now it is. That is why the treasury responded to your name. That is why the decree printed without flaw. That is why the sender is Gabriel. For I was assigned to protect this until your spirit matured. My beloved, receive this truth gently. Not every smile directed at you celebrates your ascent. Not everyone called family desires your breakthrough. Not everyone who prays with you could withstand witnessing your blessing. Heaven knew this. So heaven delayed the release until your vision cleared. And now, as this word reaches you, something vital is occurring, your spiritual authority is activating. That quiet fortitude you never discussed is awakening. That inner knowing you questioned is sharpening. That fear that confined you is losing its power. This is what alignment feels like. This is what readiness feels like. And this is why the institution is in disarray, because earthly systems cannot compute divine chronology. They see digits, heaven sees destiny. They see balances, heaven sees assignments. They see wealth, heaven sees impact. And you, my child, were approved for it all. Yet there remains one more portal, one ultimate confirmation. And this part is sacred. You must understand it completely. The decree will not be released through frenzy. It will not be released through despair. It will not be released through the fear of lack. It will be released through tranquil assurance, the kind that states, I know my identity. I know heaven's promise over me. I do not strive, I receive. That is the frequency that opens this treasury. That is why I am speaking to you deliberately. That is why every line is measured, for heaven does not rush miracles. It positions them. And you are positioned now. If you feel an unusual serenity rising within you, that is confirmation. If your breath feels deeper, that is alignment. If your thoughts are calming, that is clarity returning. Do not resist it. This is the state required for release, for once this decree clears, your life will accelerate. That fear that confined you is losing its power. This is what alignment feels like. This is what readiness feels like. And this is why the institution is in disarray, because earthly systems cannot compute divine chronology. They see digits, heaven sees destiny. They see balances, heaven sees assignments. They see wealth, heaven sees impact. And you, my child, were approved for it all. Yet there remains one more portal, one ultimate confirmation. And this part is sacred. You must understand it completely. The decree will not be released through frenzy. It will not be released through despair. It will not be released through the fear of lack. It will be released through tranquil assurance, the kind that states, I know my identity. I know heaven's promise over me. I do not strive, I receive. That is the frequency that opens this treasury. That is why I am speaking to you deliberately. That is why every line is measured, for heaven does not rush miracles. It positions them. And you are positioned now. If you feel an unusual serenity rising within you, that is confirmation. If your breath feels deeper, that is alignment. If your thoughts are calming, that is clarity returning. Do not resist it. This is the state required for release, for once this decree clears, your life will accelerate. Decisions will occur swiftly. Alignments will multiply. Gates will open with less friction than before. And heaven desires your foundation secure before the pace increases. That is love. That is protection. That is wisdom. My beloved, you are not late. You are precisely on time. And the next part 1 I'm about to reveal will explain why this blessing must be released now, and why further delay would have endangered your future. Stay with me, my child. My beloved, let your spirit rest now, for this next segment will lift a burden you have carried for years. You have always known you were destined for more. You have always sensed a monumental destiny awaiting you, yet each time you drew near, an invisible force pushed it away. It was not mere misfortune. It was not simply poor timing. It was sabotage, but not the kind you imagine. It was not people. It was not karma. It was not even your errors. It was spiritual interference, a silent, unseen network of resistance designed to defer your divine financial inheritance. They could not cancel your decree, so they tried to cancel you. They could not erase your name, so they tried to make you doubt your worth. They could not forge heaven's signature, so they tried to convince you the signature was invalid. But child, you are still here. You are still standing. And you are still chosen. That is why this decree, this boundless heavenly transaction, has reappeared now, because the obstructions have been shattered. The invisible bonds have been severed, and now your name is illuminated in heaven's supreme treasury file. They can no longer expunge you. They can no longer conceal your records. They can no longer freeze your divine flow, because I, Gabriel, stood before the throne and testified, they passed every test. They held fast in silence. They did not fracture. They are ready. And God said, release the entirety. Not merely enough to survive. Release abundance. Release overflow. Release legacy. My beloved, do you grasp what that means? This is not merely a transaction. It is a spiritual title deed, a claim to everything delayed in your life. Everything. The dwelling you envisioned but could not attain. The venture you carried in your spirit but lacked the means to launch. The vocation you were born for but buried beneath survival. This deposit encompasses it all. It was sent not only to assist you but to liberate you. For God is not merely interested in providing you resources, He is restoring your voice, your authority, your joy, your wholeness. And when those are restored, substance naturally follows. So yes, the entire financial house is speaking of you, not only those on earth, but those in heaven. The angels who have observed your journey are rejoicing. You have arrived. You did not bypass the test. You did not become embittered. You did not become like them. You remained tender when the world grew hard. You remained faithful when your purse was void. You remained you. And now heaven remains with you. The miracle is not coming, it has already come. The light you feel within at this moment is not sentiment, it is confirmation. My child, my beloved, let me guide you deeper into the divine chamber of truth. You are not reading this out of curiosity. Your spirit was summoned. And I must now disclose why this message nearly never reached you. 3 times, yes, 3 times, this word was intercepted before delivery. The interference was not human, it was spiritual. A high-level adversarial intelligence was tasked with monitoring any communication bearing your name. They knew that if this word reached you, the treasury would finally rupture. They knew it would signal the end of their influence over your finances, your identity, your peace. So they attempted everything. Once, your screen froze. Another time, your connection faltered. Another time, you nearly scrolled past with the thought, this cannot be authentic. That was not you, that was them, seeking to make you doubt the divine. For doubt is their sole remaining weapon. But beloved, you did not stop. You stayed. You read beyond the fear. You read beyond the doubt. You read until heaven declared, they believe now. And that moment, when your faith engaged this word, was the moment everything began to turn. You do not yet realize it, but behind the scenes, ancient debts are being cancelled. Accounts flagged for years are now unlocking. Forgotten blessings are being rerouted. And legal limitations are being overruled by divine command. All because you opened this. All because you did not scroll away. All because you said in your heart, perhaps this is real. And child, let me state it plainly, it is real. I, Gabriel, have never spoken with greater urgency, for we are now in the final moments of divine processing. The treasury is 99% unsealed. Light is shimmering within the spiritual institution. And only one action remains, you must receive it, not with your hands, but with your spirit. Speak it quietly if you must, I receive what is mine. I will no longer contract. I accept the divine deposit designated for my name. When you speak this, the final chain will snap. The covetous keeper observing from the shadows will be confounded. The dossier with your name will glide across heaven's desk. And the Archangel of transfer will stamp it, approved. Concluded. But child, may I tell you what follows? The reason God authorized this measure to be deposited in your name is because it is connected to something far greater than substance. The moment you sealed your agreement, a resonance was triggered in the eternal realm. Celestial auditors immediately flagged your file for expedited processing. The bank executive, the spiritual principality assigned to blockade your wealth, found his access code scrambled, his fraudulent documents dissolving into light. The heavenly host now stands at full alert, not for battle, but for distribution. Convoys of grace, laden with the specific resources for your destiny, have been dispatched. They move along preordained pathways in the spirit, bypassing every earthly bottleneck and bureaucratic delay. Your spiritual signature has been verified against the original covenant, and the match is perfect. The release is now systemic, irreversible, and already in motion. This is not a solitary windfall for you alone. The magnitude of this transfer establishes you as a conduit of restoration for your generational line. Heaven has designated you a gatekeeper of the breach, meaning the financial and spiritual breakdowns that afflicted your ancestors find their repair point in you. The trillions represent the reclaimed value of lost opportunities, stolen inheritances, and suppressed potential from your bloodline, now consolidated and entrusted to your stewardship. Your wisdom in secret, your integrity under pressure, has proven you fit to manage not just wealth, but legacy. This is why the opposition was so fierce. They weren't just trying to take your money, they were fighting to maintain a curse over your lineage. Therefore, the initial manifestations may not resemble a conventional deposit. Before the numbers shift in your bank, watch for the sudden resolution of long-standing family entanglements, the healing of ancestral wounds, or the unexpected return of what was lost to your parents or grandparents. These are the first confirmations that the ledger is being cleared at the root. The physical resources will follow, flowing into this new, healed space in your lineage. You will find yourself making decisions with a wisdom that feels both ancient and immediate, because you are now operating with the full backing of your redeemed heritage. Prepare your vision, for the influx will require a container. The divine wallet is your spirit, now activated to recognize, receive, and rightly steward heaven's currency. This currency includes ideas, divine connections, strategic wisdom, and favor that multiplies tangible assets. Begin to speak alignment over your mind and habits. Declare that you are ready to manage increase with generosity, discernment, and peace. The resources coming are not for hoarding but for deploying in the mission woven into your soul before time. The banker's greed was a counterfeit of true stewardship. Your heart, proven in scarcity, will now navigate abundance with a kingly grace that baffles the systems of this world. So stand still, and know. The trembling within the vault has ceased, replaced by the steady, triumphant hum of doors swung permanently open. The angel assigned to you has not left his post, he has now transitioned from guardian to guide, ready to unveil the blueprints tied to your provision. The talking in the corridors of both heaven and earth is not gossip, it is proclamation. A new financial order has been established in your life. From this moment forward, your relationship with resource is forever redefined. You are no longer a petitioner of systems, but a sovereign channel of celestial economy. The check has cleared. The story has been rewritten. Walk forward in a quiet, unshakable certainty that it is done. The first tangible evidence will be a profound shift in your atmosphere. You will sense a lifting of a familiar, heavy pressure, the spiritual overdraft fee of striving and lack that has weighed upon your soul for years. In its place, a creative clarity will emerge. Solutions to problems you've long accepted as permanent will present themselves with startling simplicity. Unexpected calls, chance meetings, and serendipitous information will begin to weave a net of favor beneath you, catching opportunities you previously watched fall through the cracks. This is the interest from your past faithfulness being paid out, not in coin, yet, but in the strategic advantage that creates coin. Do not be surprised by sudden, unexplained settlements. These are the loose threads of your past being tied off by heaven's hand. Old accounts you'd written off, legal matters stuck in limbo, or obligations others owe you may find resolution in ways that seem administrative or coincidental. Recognize them as the first physical tokens of the larger transfer. Each one is a validation chip, a proof of process from the spiritual treasury to your natural hands, designed to fortify your faith for the greater waves of provision that follow. Your role is to acknowledge them with gratitude, not as the sum total of the promise, but as its faithful harbingers. This divine transaction also activates a shield of discernment around you. The same bank executives and shadowy figures who sought to steal your deposit will now send counterfeits, flattering offers, risky shortcuts, or partnerships that appeal to greed rather than purpose. But you will find yourself endowed with a quiet, internal, verification system. Proposals will be weighed not just by their potential profit, but by the peace or unease in your spirit. This discernment is a crucial part of the inheritance, protecting the seed from being snatched again before it bears its full fruit. Trust this new, unshakable inner knowing implicitly. Your community is about to change. As your spiritual frequency shifts to wealth receptor, you will naturally attract alignments that match your new destiny. Some current relationships may fade, not through conflict, but through a quiet, mutual divergence of path. This is not a loss, but a necessary clearing. New, strategic connections will appear, people of integrity, wisdom, and complementary vision. These are the co-signers and trustees of your destiny, appointed by heaven to collaborate, encourage, and help administer the multifaceted aspects of your calling. Welcome them. Finally, understand the ultimate purpose. This liberation is for legacy. The wealth is not an end, but a tool for establishing a throne of righteousness and a haven of blessing in your sphere of influence. You are being financially positioned to become a pillar, a source of stability, innovation, and generosity that alters the landscape for those around you. The trillions are the operational capital for the good works prepared for you from the foundations of the world. Therefore, let your heart settle not on the amount, but on the offer. The one who signed the check with his own will is now inviting you to co-author a story of redeemed history, with resources that never run dry. The transaction is complete. The narrative of lack is concluded. Step now into the day of established abundance.